episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
Right?
watching this episode
of Oregon Life.
Hello, I'm Frank Caruso, producer of Oregon Life, and welcome to a brand new episode. We're at the historic Pump House today, and we'll be talking to some artists as they come up, talk about their artwork. We'll show you some of their artwork, but coming in September 16th and 17th is, and I'm going to refer to one of the artists over here in the room. Karen, when is the art tour, and what is the name of the art tour?
14 South Regional Art Tour.
14 South Regional Art Tour. But below is all the information, so enjoy this episode of Oregon Life, and thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
My name is Francis Stanton. I'm a printmaker and photographer, and I'm a member of 14 South Artist. And I have been an artist most of my life, but not a practicing artist. I was a cartographer and made a lot of maps, telephone book maps for anybody that might remember that. And my training as a cartographer helped me to improve and work with the methods of being an artist in printmaking. There's a lot in common with the two. I grew up in an artistic family, and my mom was an artist, and my dad was an architect, and my sister is an artist, brother is an engineer. And so I grew up in that environment, and art is just kind of part of what I do, and it's very natural to me to make art. Recently, I was visiting my sister in San Francisco, and she gave me a little rubber stamp to cut, because that's what she's into at this point. And it was so much fun that I thought I could do this on a larger scale, and it would be a lot of fun to do a larger, a print. So I got into printmaking and doing lino cuts and silk screens, which are different processes, but they can look similar, and you can mix and match and use them together. I also use the computer quite a bit, and especially as a photographer, I use the computer, and any special effects I can get my hands on. In the printmaking with the computer serves as an excellent tool to make changes and set things up. So there is a lot of intermixing of stuff with the methods, and the goal is to make the art look like I want it to look like, no matter what the tools, whether they're manual tools or computer tools. For the tour, the 14 South Art Tour, I'm hoping everybody can come and see what everyone is doing, and I hope it turns out to be a great tour for everybody. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jane Peterson, owner of Brass Egg Studio, and I have been a part of 14 South Artists for about 4 years. I juried in with jewelry, which I use the best materials I can find. I like the colors of natural stones, and I use semi-precious gemstones in the jewelry that I make, and gold-filled and silver-filled metals. And I also like to quilt and sew and do different things make different things that are usable in the household every day. I've made some purses, and I made some placemats, and the latest thing I'm doing is making my own fabric, which is laying out a piece of fabric and scraps of fabric and metals and yarns on top of that, put a layer of organza over that, and then free motion quilt it. And then those pieces will become other objects in the future. I am so glad I found 14 South. It's been a blast, and it's so much fun interacting with all the artists here. I have made new friends, proud to be part of the Oregon Art Center, and that's all.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I'm a jewelry artist. I have been making jewelry for, well, a little more than 20 years now, and I've always loved jewelry. when I was 13, I bought my first piece of jewelry, and it actually happened to be 2 Wonder Woman cuffs. They were huge, big silver cuffs. And so I've always been fascinated by jewelry, always wanted to know how it was made, never understood it until I went to school. And so I went to school in California and I studied jewelry making. And ever since then, it's been just a phenomenal entry into the world of creative arts for me. I came from a science background, so it was very straight and narrow. And now the whole world is my oyster. So what I like to do mostly is called high carat granulation. And this piece that I have on is an example of that. This piece has a dragonfly carved into a quartz on the one side, and then it's backed in 22 karat gold, and the little granules are teeny little balls, and it's very similar to Etruscan work, which is very ancient. And so I use a blowtorch, which basically means I use a mouthpiece with a torch, and so when I fire pieces and make them, that's how I do it. I think the most important thing to me with jewelry is that it feels good on. So you're not going to wear something that doesn't feel good on. A lot of highly creative people make these incredible artistic pieces and you put them on and you're like, oh, it's scratchy. So for me, it's like, if I don't feel comfortable wearing a piece of jewelry, I'm not going to make that piece of jewelry. And I want somebody who's wearing my jewelry to feel like it enhances them, like it makes them someone special, someone different, and you really want to be that person wearing that piece of jewelry. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? So in making jewelry, I always think about the body and how it fits. And the creative process really starts somewhere in my head and comes out however it ends up. I don't always have an idea in mind to begin with. Sometimes I do. But one of the things that I've learned is through teaching. And so I teach children. My son has taken classes with me. He's a fun student to have in class. And I've also taught so many various different jewelry techniques. And so in doing that, I've really learned and understood how people can really appreciate jewelry and especially appreciate handmade jewelry and something that feels good to wear. So one of my favorite things to do is to remake jewelry for people. I've had customers come in and they've had pieces from grandmother or great-grandmother or even antique pieces that they love, but they don't quite know how to wear, or maybe it was a brooch or a pin and they wanted to make a pendant out of it instead. So oftentimes when I create jewelry, what I like to do is recreate jewelry. So it's a recreation as opposed to something that's just pulled out and made. One of the amazing things about jewelry is that it lasts not only a lifetime, but generations and generations, and it always is something that makes people happy. That's the best part about jewelry. There's nothing sad about jewelry. It's always an amazing, fun, happy place to be and to wear. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to meeting you sometime soon. Bye.
Watching this episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
right?
watching this episode
Episode of Oregon Life.